Good morning on this cold but fabulously sunny morning. It's great to be here. I'd like to welcome all of you. Many of you will know Friary Park was donated for public benefit in 1910 by a local businessman and benefactor, Sidney Simmons, who also donated the Peace statue to the park a year later. Recent research by Nick McKee, a local resident and historian, has revealed that the statue was actually created in 1861 and believed to be modelled after Queen Victoria. It originally held a rod with a dove, a symbol of peace, mounted on a globe, rather than the sword with which we've become familiar. So this statue was initially placed in South Kensington, but following the death of Prince Albert, the Queen replaced it with a memorial to her late husband. Some years later, when Sidney Simmons donated the Peace statue, the dove had been replaced with a spear, thought to symbolise armed peace. The significance of that is that in 1911 the statue was rededicated in memory of King Edward VII, who had succeeded Queen Victoria to commemorate his peacemaking efforts. King Edward had earned himself the title of peacemaker through his attempts to prevent, ultimately unsuccessfully, but to prevent the developing hostilities between nations, particularly in Europe, but also in other parts of the world. Sadly, over time, the statue and its spear fell into disrepair, and the council had earmarked the now Grade 2 listed statue for professional cleaning. And following Nick McKee's research into her original identity, agreed to replace the spear with a dove of peace, restoring the original design. The extensive restoration works began in March this year and included the statue's removal from the park to the conservator's workshop. Repairs were undertaken to the joints and metalwork that were putting the sculpture at structural risk. The naturally formed green patina was cleaned from the statue and it was repatinated brown using the traditional chemical colouring techniques favoured by the original manufacturer, Elkington & Co. Finally, an application of shellac sealer, together with a wax coating, was applied to further protect the sculpture from the elements. The supporting granite plinth was also sympathetically cleaned. I've given myself some really tricky words, haven't I? Sympathetically cleaned, and the defective mortar repaired to maintain its character and its naturalistic appearance that we see today. The restoration works were managed and funded by Barnet Council through an area committee grant and championed by former councillor Stephen Sowerby, who initiated the Peace statue restoration in his role as the then borough's heritage champion. Thanks also should go to the heritage contractor Rupert Harris, who undertook the works, the heritage consultant MRDA, council officers, many of whom are here today, and service providers who managed the project. During the Peace statue's 111-year-long stay in Friary Park, she has become a familiar figure, an important part of the local landscape, and occasionally a climbing challenge. So today we're delighted to welcome her back after her glamorous makeover to take up a familiar place in the park with a bit of extra sparkle in the sunshine today. And I hope we are all proud to see the Peace statue restored to her former glory. It would have been recognisable to the sculptor Joseph Durham and as cast by Elkington & Co. And I hope that this statue will continue to be a focus and represent peace in this community and beyond. It is perhaps particularly poignant, given her history, that with the spectre of war rising once again in the Ukraine and elsewhere, and in the wake of our global battle with COVID-19, we are rededicating our statue in the name of peace and solidarity. And in an increasingly diverse borough, I hope that residents of all backgrounds, ethnicities and faiths will be inspired by the statue's message of peace at this challenging time. Thank you for joining us to celebrate this wonderful occasion.